Hello summoners, and welcome back to the Mobalytics tier list. This time, we'll be taking a look at patch 8.7. This patch tends to be very interesting because normally the way Riot has been doing it this season is they release one big patch on even numbered patches, and they release a smaller one to help tune and fix a little bit what they just released on the odd numbered patches. But this is an odd numbered patch at patch 8.7, and it's a huge patch. On this patch, we have the brand new Irelia rework, as well as a change to the way that minions work. It is a very interesting change that they decided to go with for cannon minions. Now that the cannon minion has a lot more HP, but is also worth much more gold, it's somewhat of a mini objective in the laning phase. What this may end up meaning is that assassins become a lot better. This is because champions normally with a ton of wave clear, such as Talia, Azir, or Ryze, will have to stay in lane for a longer amount of time. Assassins like Katarina, Zed, or Talon do not have a bunch of wave clear, so they can't wave clear and spam push the wave and then look to roam, but what they can do is solo kill their laner. The enemy laner is going to stay in lane for much longer to fight over the cannon minion, and because it's worth a lot more gold, contesting it, walking up, and using your ultimate ability to kill them is much more rewarding. Starting up with our friends in the top lane, it's Camille, Fiora, Singed, Swain, and Aatrox. It's kind of an interesting selection of champions for top lane at the moment. You have 2 AP champions, but then you have 3 bruisers. So why is that? Well, at the moment, top lane is kind of all over the place. You do have champions like Fiora, Camille, Darius, Riven, Yasuo, Kled, who are probably going to use the new Conqueror rune and use it really well, but then you have things like Singed. When the AP items got reworked, some of them are very nice for Singed. The ability to build Morella Namicon and Liandry's Torment on top of Rylai's receiving a buff makes Singed really good. But another huge part of Singed being so good is simply the fact that he counters a lot of the things that people play in solo queue. The fun, assassin, fighter champions for top lane like Riven, Yasuo, these types of champions for top get absolutely blasted by Singed. So the more and more Yasuo, Riven, Renekton, and Fiora you're gonna see in solo queue, the better and better as a pick Singed will be. Normally, by rule, we will not include a new champion or a new rework into our tier list for the first patch that they come out. This is because without statistics or any real gameplay on the champion, it can kind of be a crapshoot where they might lie. However, a lot of our experts have played quite a few games of the new Irelia on the PvE. It turns out that she's a pretty solid champion, but does not necessarily appear to be A or S tier because her numbers are kinda low. She's not nearly as bursty as she used to be, but that's for a good reason, because she has a lot more ways to reset her dash. Irelia is kind of a hybrid between Talon, Yasuo, and Riven, and she's definitely a fun champion to play, and despite playing her for quite a few games and seeing that her numbers are low, we suspect that she's going to be a pretty decent B tier top laner. Make sure you give her a try and figure out what the best builds and rune combinations are, and let us know in the comment section below what you think of the new Irelia. On to the junglers, it's Warwick, Nunu, and Kha'Zix in S tier. Before we get back to the S tier champions and some of the explanations, let's go over quickly why there are so many champions in A and B tier for jungle. Right now for the jungle role, you kinda just play the 3 or 4 S tier champions at the top, and then everything else is just sorta there. Nothing else in the jungle right now really feels like it needs to be permabanned, or there's no way to play around it the same way that Warwick, Nunu, or Kha'Zix could feel like at the moment. Shaco is still really good and is in A tier for a reason, but he did fall out of S tier because he received some relatively meaningful nerfs on his Q. Nunu is one of those junglers that just feels OP. He does a lot of things for your team. He even does really good damage. His ganks are solid. He can jungle clear pretty effectively. He's good in team fights. His blood boil is OP. What doesn't Nunu really have is the question. And you'd be hard pressed to find an answer for that. He's a relatively boring champion to play, and the reason that not a lot of people play him is just for that simple fact, but overall the champion is still very strong, and we recommend anybody who's looking to climb and gain that free LP to pick up Nunu. On to the mid lane, where we see a return of a few assassins, but some of the S tier stuff is still there from last time. Well, here we go. Our old friends Zed and Talon are coming back. AD assassins are back in because of the Ninja Tabby nerf, as well as the ignite buff from the previous patch and the cannon minion change. You better be ready to get killed. This isn't the only big change we saw for mid lane this patch though. Presence of Mind and Mana Flow ban were changed, and this is why you see champions like Irelia and Soul or Cassiopeia drop down a tier. Onto our favorite AD carries for this patch, we have Xayah, Kai'Sa, and Caitlyn. Although there's nothing wrong with Ezreal, Draven, Twitch, Jhin, or Varus, they're not on that next level of disgusting power that Kai'Sa, Caitlyn, and Xayah are on. It's pretty apparent that Kai'Sa was in fact overbuffed, but this is also because we see her getting optimized. When a brand new champion comes out, it really does take some time for people to figure out what the best rune combinations are, what the best build is, and typically people are sitting on this Death Dance, Essence Reaver, Rageblade, and Nashor's Tooth build. So those two factors have made Kai'Sa become incredibly powerful and arguably being one of the best permabans in solo queue at the moment. For me, I played a lot of solo queue games this week, and I can assure you that Kai'Sa had a 100% win rate in my games. Whenever she was on the enemy team, she always won, and whenever she was on my team, we always won. She never lost. Remember that for bot lane this patch, not only are we going to be seeing a lot more assassins mid lane because of the previous things that we mentioned, but also Locket of the Iron Solari was nerfed. This means the usual effectiveness of assassins being able to one-shot you and take over games is going to be even higher, which also brings up priority on champions like Janna even more than they already are. Anything that you're going to be picking for bot lane this patch, you just have to keep this in mind and be very careful. It might be pretty hard to play things like Jinx, Misfortune, or Ashe this patch because you're just going to get killed by Zed. Lastly, for supports, in S tier we have Nami, Janna, and Blitzcrank. These three S tier champions kind of make a lot of sense. We have two enchanters that people are going to be playing to help shut down the assassins and who are already very good, but we also have the thing that counters the enchanters and hooks them in and gets them killed. With the nerfs to the health that Resolve Tree gives you on this patch, this means that if you ever get hooked in lane by Blitzcrank, you're probably just going to die if you're a squishy support. So if you're looking to climb and gain that LP for support on this patch, if you can't get one of those top enchanters, just play something like Blitzcrank or Thresh who can help deal with them. Tank supports such as Alistar, Braum, and Taric are still pretty good, even Leona is not bad as well, but the reason that we don't see them in S tier is because not only do we see a direct nerf onto the Relic Shield line this patch, but also the enchanters are just a bit easier to pull off and win with. This has been the Mobalytics tier list for patch 8.7. Let us know what you think about this in the comment section down below. We always like to read your comments and keep up the discussion down there. Thank you for watching and subscribe to all of our socials on Discord, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and anywhere else that you can find us. Anyway, thanks for watching and check out the product at mobalytics.gg.